So, today, guys, we're going to be continuing after a long break, after a particularly very long break for me, because I had some few other important, I would say, tasks that I have to be responsible for. I had to be responsible for in the past tense. So, however, for this one, we're going to be continuing for the test two, passage one. As we can see, it can be pretty simple, I guess. Alexander Henderson, born in Scotland, Henderson immigrated to Canada in 1855 and became a well-known landscape photographer. He's a landscape photographer. All right. Now we have some questions here. Okay. So now I'm gonna do that. So I have a really small monitor, so I will have to be navigating through, you know, shift and tab and alt. Now Henderson rarely rarely visited the area around Press Estate when he was younger. Henderson pursued a business career because it was what his family wanted. That is another one. Henderson and Notman were surprised by the results of their 1865 experiment. They were surprised, these two people. There were many similarities between Henderson's early landscapes and those of Notman. There were many similarities. Okay. So the studio that Henderson opened in 1866 was close to his home. All right. Henderson gave up portraiture so that he could focus on taking photographs of scenery. Photographs of scenery. The photograph of scenery, and now you'll have to know the definition for sometimes that the word scenery means landscapes and so on. When Henderson began work for the Intercolonial Railway, the Montreal to Halifax line had been finished. Henderson's last work as a photographer was with the Canadian Pacific Railway. All right. Now, here is one word only. So the true, false, not given questions, they come in order. Once you find the first one, the second and until the eighth, they will follow in order. So another one is Alexander Henderson's early life, start of a photographic career, and traveling as a professional photographer. So was born in Scotland in 1931. The father was the someone. Okay. Alexander Henderson was born in Scotland in 1831 and was the son of a successful merchant. Okay, he was the son of a successful merchant. I'm gonna give this a number 9. I'm gonna give this a number 9. So his father was a merchant. Right. Now, trained as an accountant, immigrated in Canada in 1855. His grandfather, also called Alexander, had founded the family business and later became the first chairman of the National Bank of Scotland. The family had extensive land holding in Scotland. Besides its residence in Edinburgh, it owned Press Estate. They owned Press Estate, 650 acres of farmland, about 35 miles southeast of the city. The family often stayed at Press Castle. So the large mansion on the northern edge of the property. And Alexander spent much of his childhood in the area, playing on the beach near Eyemouth or fishing in the streams nearby. So there's another answer we've got. So he did not rarely visit. He spent much of his childhood. So the answer is going to be false here. All right. So I'm gonna highlight that normally and give this a number 1. Then, even after he went to school at Murchison Academy on the outskirts of Edinburgh, Henderson returned to press at weekends. So there's a still proving point. There's a proving point to this part. In 1849, he began a 3-year apprenticeship to become an accountant. Although he never liked the prospect of a business career, he stayed with it to please his family. So another one we found it. So he pursued a business career because of what his family wanted. That is true. What his family wanted means to please his family. Another one is a really easy one. In October 1855, however, he emigrated to Canada with his wife Agnes Elder Robertson, and they settled in Montreal. So Henderson learned photography. So did we answer anything else here? Nope. Henderson learned photography in Montreal around the year 1857 and quickly took it up as a serious imager. He became a personal friend and a colleague of the Scottish-Canadian photographer William Notman. The two men made a photographic excursion to Niagara Falls in 1860, and they cooperated on experiments with the magnesium flares as a source of artificial light in 1865. They belonged to the same societies and were among the founding members of the Art Association of Montreal. Henderson acted as chairman of the association's first meeting, which was held in Notman Studio in 11th January 1860. So there's nothing about that yet. Now, in spite of their friendship, their style of photography were quite different. All right, there's another one. So they were quite different. Here it says, we're surprised by the results of the 1865. So do we have anything? 1865 we have not found, but however, there were, so because we did not find, and automatically we are finding the many similarities. Here it says we're quite different, so there's going to be false. False. However, this one I believe is going to be, it will be not given. I'm just going to name it as NG. Because the answer doesn't necessarily say, because once we automatically found false, but we could not find if the results of the 1865 experiment was quite surprising for Henderson and Notman. We did not find that, so that the answer is going to be not given. We don't have to spend extra time to search for the answer. So the studio that Henderson opened in 1866 was close to his home. So while Notman's landscape were noted for their bold realism, Henderson, for the first 20 years of his career, produced romantic images showing the strong influence of the British landscape tradition. His artistic and technical progress was rapid, and in 1865, he published his first major collection of landscape photographs. So the studio that Henderson opened in 1866 was close to his home. Is there anything that necessarily says about that? Now, Henderson gave up a portrait so that he could focus on photographing scenery. Yes, that is true. And I think this is another not given for us because it doesn't talk about the location. Okay, this is, I wrote no given here, NG here. It doesn't matter, same thing. So Henderson gave up portraiture so that he could focus on taking photographs of scenery. So that means, where was that? While Notman landscape were noted for the bold realism, Henderson, for the first 20 years of his career, produced romantic images showing the strong influence of the British landscape tradition. His artistic and technical progress rapid in 1865. He published his first major collection of landscape photographs. So, landscape photographs. It's a landscape photographs. We're talking about it's talking about the scenery. So yeah, Henderson gave up portraiture. Still, I'm not sure. But let's just read. The contents of each copy vary significantly and have proved a useful source of evaluating Henderson's early work. In 1866, he gave up his business to open a photographic studio. So Henderson gave up portraiture. It doesn't necessarily gave up doesn't necessarily mean sort of, let's say he was focused on one part of a job and then his focus shifted to another to another, let's say to another path. However, in this case, I would say that the word "gave up" meant that he didn't do the portraiture, so that he focused necessarily on the photographs of scenery because that was pretty distinct for him. Because I think he would do the best. So when Henderson began work for the Intercolonial Railway, the Montreal to Halifax line had been finished. Now, did we answer anything in here? People bought Henderson photos, 1866. All right. So we read this. In 1866, he gave up his business to open a photographic studio, advertising himself as a portrait and landscape photographer. Oh, there we go. So advertising himself as a portrait and a landscape photographer. So landscape photographer here, it's also another way of saying it's number 6 here. Because landscape photographs of scenery means landscape photographer. From about, so we found everything here. We also number 4. Number 4, it's I think number 4 here. Number 5 was not given, so we don't want to concentrate about that now. So from about 1870, he dropped portraiture to specialize in landscape photography and other views. There we go. There we go. We made quick assumptions, however. Don't worry about that. You sometimes can find the answers before. So yeah, his numerous photographs of city life revealed in the street scenes, houses, and markets are alive with human activity. And although his favorite subject was landscape, he usually composed his scenes around such human pursuits and farming the land, cutting ice on a river or sailing down a woodland stream. There was a sufficient demand for these types of scenes and others he took depicting the lumber trade, steamboats, and waterfalls to enable him to make a living. So, okay. Is there anything we have? Nope. There was a little competing hobby or amateur photography before the late 1880s because of the time-consuming techniques involved and the weight of equipment. People wanted to buy photographs as souvenirs of a trip or as a gift, catering to his market. Henderson had stock photographs on a display at his studio for mounting, framing, or inclusion in albums. Hmm. Um, did we skip anything? So people bought Henderson's photos because photography took up considerable time and the something was heavy. So what was heavy? Involved and weight of equipment. Okay, there we go. Time consuming and weight of equipment. So here it's going to be number 10. So it's going to be here. The equipment was quite heavy equipment and sold were as gifts. All right. So another one is 1870 to the 1880s. He took many trips along eastern rivers and ate something. People wanted to buy photographs as souvenirs, or of a trip, or as gifts. All right, or as gifts. Another one is for, I think it's question number 11. So Henderson frequently exhibited his photographs in Montreal and abroad, in London, Edinburgh, Dublin, Paris, New York, and Philadelphia. He met with greater success in 1877 and 1878 in New York when he won first prizes in the exhibition held by E. and H. T. Anthony and Company for landscapes using the Lembertide process. In 1878, his work won second prize at the World Exhibition in Paris. In 1890s and 1880s, Henderson traveled widely throughout Quebec and Ontario and Canada, documenting the major cities of the two provinces and many of the villages in Quebec. When Henderson began work for Intercolonial Railway, okay, there's nothing about that yet. He was especially fond of the wilderness and often traveled by canoe. So he traveled by canoe. Eastern rivers. He traveled by canoe on the Blanche de Riviere and other noted eastern rivers. So I'm gonna take that oh my god, nicely and slowly. So can I highlight that normally? So there we go. And I think that's a pretty good one. So 12, this one is going to be number 12. He went on several occasions to Maritimes and in 1872, he sailed by yacht along the lower north shore of the St. Lawrence River. That same year, while in the lower St. Lawrence River, he took some photographs of the construction of the Intercolonial Railway. This undertaking led in 1875 to a commission from the railway to record the principal structures along the almost completed line connecting. Okay, almost. It was almost finishing, so it has not finished. So it's going to be false. False. Henderson's last work as a photographer was with the Canadian Pacific Railway. Okay. Is there anything we have done? Work with the CPR in 1885. All right. 1875 and 1887, 97. All right. Now, commissions from the other railways followed. In 1876, he photographed bridges on the Quebec, Montreal, Ottawa, and Occidental Railway between Montreal and Ottawa. In 1885, he went west along the Canadian Pacific Railway (CPR) as far as Rogers Pass in British Columbia, where he took photographs of the mountains and the progress of construction. In 1892, Henderson accepted a full-time position with the CPR. CPR is the Canadian Pacific Railway, as manager of photographic department, which he was to set up and administer. His duties included spending 4 months in the field each year. That summer, he made his second trip west, photographing extensively along the railway line as far as Victoria. Then he continued in the post until 1897, when he retired completely from the photography. So yeah, he retired. His last work was with the CPR. That is going to be true. So what did he take? He second photographing extensively on the railway. So worked with CPR 1885 and photographed something at the railway at Rogers Pass. Rogers Pass, where he took photographs of the mountains and the progress of construction. So mountains. There we go, guys. So it's gonna be this part. I think this part is gonna be number 13. All right. Cano 12. We Cano. This is number 12. 11. Did we find 11? 11. We have everything here, and CPR. This paragraph is talking about number 8. So there you go, guys. It's pretty simple. We finished it. I'm not sure under what minute, but yeah, if you have any questions, comment down below, and I'll come with a very prompt response to your request. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and yeah, probably I will see you. Not probably, but surely I will see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching.